Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to explain and recap a recently released film called Remember Me. If you like my recap videos, then please subscribe to my channel. It really helps. The movie opens with a confused lady who wakes up in a room. She didn't know where she is, whose house it is, or what is her name. She was not feeling her legs as well. She fell as soon as she tried to stand up. She screams in pain for help. After some time, one old lady arrived here for help. The old lady calls this lady as Rose and says she is her mom, Doreen. She had an accident 8 weeks ago and was in a coma ever since. Doreen, being a doctor, thought she could take better care of Rose here at the house than at the hospital. Being in familiar places helps in recovery. Rose was shocked to hear all this as she had no memory of it. Doreen was not surprised here as memory loss was common in head injuries. She placated Rose by saying she will remember eventually, she just has to give it some time. Still, Rose was not completely relaxed. It seemed her mind was just not ready to accept this. At night, after giving dinner and tablets to Rose, Doreen injects a painkiller injection into her. Even though she had no pain, still Doreen insists on an injection. Late at night, Rose woke up due to a creepy sound. She felt someone is in her room. She looks around. Just seemed there is no one. Doreen appeared in front of her from nowhere. She was sitting on her bed with her back to Rose. This scares Rose as she calls her mom. Doreen walks away from there as if she is not aware that she is sitting there. Perhaps she might be walking in sleep. The next morning, Rose asks about this to Doreen, but Doreen snugs it off. Rose was trying hard to remember what happened to her. She was getting visions, but it was not clear. While taking a bath, Rose passes out, and she starts to drown slowly. Doreen checks in on her in time and removes her from the bath. After the bath, Rose asks about her dad, to which Doreen says he is not of sound. Then Rose asks about her friends and her mobile. She thought surely she must have one. Doreen says it was not there in the belongings she got from the crash site. Perhaps it was lost. Many of your friends wanted to see you, but I thought it will be too much. You need to take it slow, you are barely awake. However, Jamie will be here tomorrow, he will give you company. Rose asks who is Jamie, to which Doreen says he is her fiancé. He is lovely, he was worried sick about you all this time. Rose was clearly in shock hearing this, as she was not ready for this. She also started getting visions where she was drinking and enjoying herself with a girl in a lovely way. The next day, Rose met Jamie. He says she is a cashier at the bank and he is a financial advisor. That's how they met. They were in a relationship for the last 4 years. Rose was pretty upset hearing all this as she had no memory of nearly 4 years. She tries to get some more info about her family from Jamie. Jamie too had less info about this as he never met Doreen before this accident. This seemed strange to Rose as to why she never introduced her fiancé to her mom. Doreen was ear-dropping on this. She reveals the reality between them while crying. Doreen says, "You and I always argued and fought. You were a free-spirited young girl who wanted to travel and see the world. I wanted you to save the money so that you won't struggle later in life. Like today's $5 gas price era. We had a breakdown in our relationship, we were not on speaking terms. Last time I saw you were 10 years ago. After hearing this, Rose felt bad for Doreen. At night, Doreen creepily speaks to Rose. She shows her a doll and sings a rhyme Rose used to sing with it when she was a kid. Doreen hoped this might trigger her memory, but the Rose was irritated by this. The next day, Rose asks Jamie to call a few of her friends as she was getting bored all day sitting here with no one to talk to. Jamie tells Rose about her best friend Clara. He wanted to call her. But Doreen doesn't like this idea, she warns as a doctor. Forcing the mind to do things that seemed obvious may hamper its stability. Doreen also stops Jamie from staying here as she sensed the raging hormones of Rose. She sneakily saw Jamie and Rose to kiss her earlier. Being not married and intimacy at this stage was a clear no-no for her. Jamie with a smile understood her logic and said to Rose that he will visit her daily. Every day Rose saw Doreen locking up the drawers as if she is keeping something hidden there. Rose decides she will check that out when Doreen leaves the house for household stuff. She was thinking of using the pins in her doll to unlock the drawer. After Doreen left, Rose crawls down to her wheelchair, then moves to that drawer and starts unlocking it. Somehow she opens it. There she found a few photos and a mobile phone. There was Clara's photo with her name on the back. Rose called her. Here I am not sure how she remembered to dial and operate a phone. Clara was very happy and relieved to see Rose. Rose says her mom emailed her about the accident, but she refused the visit. It's almost 12 weeks since we met before that accident at Tim 40 restaurant. This was the same image Rose was getting over and over again. Before Clara could say something more, phone's battery drains. Rose quickly grabbed one charger to plug it in. Just then she heard her mom coming. In a hurry, she tried moving back, but her wheelchair got stuck at the door. She somehow crawled her way onto the bed and pretended as if nothing happened. Doreen saw the displaced wheelchair, and she started suspecting. Doreen here strangely offers a cup of tea to Rose. Sadly, the charger Rose had was no match for her phone. She brought the wrong one. To make calls, she had to go out again and find the right one. Late night, Rose gets a few more visions of her memory in her dream. This time she was driving her car in rain. She ends up at a house where she saw the board of "We are at the next door." Rose wakes up utterly confused. During the day she sends Doreen away from the house with an excuse of cravings for lamb. Doreen was not in the mood to go out, but she agrees as Rose was insistent. After that, Rose starts checking for that charger. It was not in that drawer, hence she searches it everywhere. Finally, she got it from her mom's bedside drawer. There she also saw a box hidden under the bed. Upon checking, it was her blood cloth dress and car keys. Seeing these things here, Rose gets another vision. This time she was crawling in horror. She screams at someone. Just then Doreen arrives here. She was furious about Rose going through her stuff. Upon asking about them, she says, "These are evidence. At the night of your accident there was a lady with you. She died there. Her blood was all over you. You were pretty drunk that night, hence I stole your items and destroyed them." Rose didn't buy this. She understood clearly that Doreen is lying. These two fight heavily and slap each other. After some time, these two call off and say sorry to one another. A few minutes later, Rose keeps her phone on charge. Here she gets another vision. She was in her present house and was wandering here as if she didn't know. Here she sees an injured old lady whom she was calling Mom, meaning Doreen might not be her real mom. Rose woke up in horror and shock. She saw the bedside photo of her and Doreen. It was a little off. She removed the photo from the frame and what she saw shook her to the core. When Jamie arrived, she showed that photo to him and said, "I think Doreen is not my mom. This lady is my mom." On the back of that photo, it was written as Mom, Rose, and Doreen. Here Rose asks Jamie to Google about her accident, as according to Doreen there was another lady in her car who died during the crash. Jamie was shocked to hear this, because Doreen told him that Rose was hit by a car. Rose's car was parked outside in pristine condition. This confuses both of them, and Rose by this time was sure that Doreen is lying. When Jamie walked out for drinks, Rose called Clara. She showed that lady's photo and asked, "Who is this?" Clara affirmed that lady is Rose's mom and Doreen as their neighbor. She cautioned about Doreen as she always felt weird about her. But the biggest shock was about Jamie. Rose never had a fiancé and Jamie was Doreen's son. Rose freaked out hearing all this. She asked Clara to get her ASAP with the police. Unfortunately for Rose, Jamie heard all this and his behavior turned creepy immediately. He said, "Clara never liked me." Just then Doreen also arrived here and we get to know everything. Doreen sheds her good mom act and speaks directly. She says jealousy and desire are dangerous things. Your mom was suffering from full-blown insomnia. She needed help, hence I used to hypnotize her to calm her down. After retirement, I wanted a different life and I always wanted a daughter. Hence I stabbed your mom and killed her. Before dying, she called you, and fortunately, you ended up at the doorstep. After hearing all this, Rose got all her visions clearly. She never had an accident. She was under hypnosis and medication for the last 4 months. Her legs were also fine. She used to mix muscle relaxants in Rose's tea. Doreen had also hypnotized Rose's real dad. He was like a non-violent silent zombie with very less emotional alertness. Jamie was interested in Rose since childhood and Rose always gave him a cold shoulder. Doreen and Jamie did all this to change their boring life. Rose was clearly horrified hearing this. She swears to Doreen and says, "I will never be your daughter." To this, Doreen says, "We wanted a daughter from you. We don't want you." Doreen here forcefully tries artificial insemination. Rose aggressively fights back. First, she knocks out Jamie with a photo frame. Then she destroys the sample. When furious, Doreen tried killing Rose by drowning her in a bathtub. Rose poked a toothbrush into Doreen's eye. As Doreen was knocked out, Jamie woke up. When he saw her mom, he started strangling Rose. Rose's dad, who was pretty much motionless up until now, attacks Jamie. He hits him in the head and knocks him down again. I guess this is due to the reflex action as he saw his daughter getting strangled. The brain works mysteriously even under hypnosis, it seems. Rose crawls her way onto the wheelchair and starts waiting for Clara. Behind her back we see Doreen, who was awake. She stabs Rose in her back. Rose starts screaming as the last resort. She grabs Doreen and pushes her wheelchair down the stairs. In this accident, Doreen finally dies. Rose was alive and in pain. Finally, Clara arrived here and saved her. After a few days, we see Rose completely recovered and standing at a beach. She was okay. With this, the film ends. This film had many loopholes from a script point of view. I guess this is another COVID lockdown film with less crew and a low budget. If one looks at this from that angle, then it's a great job. Otherwise, the film could have been better. It is entertaining and one-time watch. Please subscribe to my channel. Give it a like. Thanks for watching. Take care.